The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the Weymouth Community Access staff or its board of directors. WCA, in compliance with FCC regulations, is prohibited from exercising control over the content of independent member-produced public access programming.
Hello, this is Trish with the Back River Watershed Association, and I'm here with Linda D'Angelo, President of the Back River Watershed Association. You never know who you're going to run onto on the run these days. The other day we came across George Loring.
What's up, Trish?
What's up? Yeah, we got George Loring here today. Hi, George.
Hi, Phil. Hi, Trish.
I hope you're enjoying the run, George. It seems like a bunch of fish came in last night.
It
Look at.
It was almost empty down there last night.
Yeah, it was almost empty. We had a photographer coming this morning. He started at 10 a.m. The fish were performing well for him. Friend of Les Kaufman. Keith seemed to be enjoying himself. He's been in the ladder for an hour now. He can't get enough of this. Anyhow, that's what we got today. A whole new school of fish. Happy campers for sure.
Well, we're happy to find George Loring on the herring run right by Nico's. It's a beautiful Friday. And George, what's happening with the fish today?
Well, another large group came in during the evening, I reckon, because yesterday there was hardly any down below. The water temperatures have been staying in the upper to mid 50s, which has been really good for the fish. There's no stress, there's no hurry. The weather seems to have lengthened the run, the time-wise anyways, because sometimes at this time of the year it gets so hot they're all done. But this year, because of the cooler weather, it's elongated the season. Good-looking fish, there's no hurry, there's no pushing, shoving. They're very congenial. Counted 22 a minute just now up at the middle pool. They come in groups 5 or 6 at a time, then be nothing for 20 seconds, then a whole bunch would come through again. So when we count for 10 minutes, we get a pretty good sampling of what's happening during that part of the day. And except for a few of the fish that look like the cormorants and seagulls took a bite out of them, they're all very healthy looking fish. It's just so exciting.
It never gets old, George.
No. I've been involved for 33 years, and every year the first fish I see, I get the same excitement as I did when I saw the first fish 33 years ago. It's amazing. And thankfully Trish is documenting all this.
It's all about the fish, George.
Fish.
All about the fish. We're just a mere speck in this history.
Exactly.
Thanks for all you do, George.
Well, sure do enjoy it.
So what other things have you done on the run this spring?
Watch Phil work mostly. Yeah, last year we were able to smooth out the ladders here. Got a nice fence up at Iron Hill to keep the cormorants out of the ladder. That relieves some of the stress on the fish too. Replaced some baffles, got some cleanup done by the Boy Scouts, and then the annual Weymouth Cleanup Day, they sent about 15 people down, and we got a lot of work done that day. Got the catch basins marked so that people won't be dumping their junk into the catch basins. It says, this exits into the river so that, the people will know. It's not the place to dump their oil and other things. Other than that, it's been a very easy year. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for having us here today.
We also caught up with a couple other people that day.
Good morning. I have a friend down here. Can't say he's a friend, he's an acquaintance. His name is Keith Ellenbogen. He's down here, he's a professional photographer, shooting our river herring. He's got a lot of interest in herring, as he has a lot of interest in all species. He was telling me that he's going to be filming in the Caribbean next week. He's going to be doing some work on hammerhead sharks. So we're very lucky to have him with us today. And hopefully we'll get him to say a few words after he's done filming. Okay, all right. We're here with Keith Ellenbogen. Yep. Is that right, Keith?
Yep, Ellenbogen.
Yeah, and Keith was sent to us by a member of the Division of Marine Fisheries. His name was Ben. He comes here very often. Do you know Ben's last name?
Yeah, Gagan.
Gagan. I always forget that too. And I apologize to him because I feel very close to him. Anyhow, we'd like to know a little bit about your backstory, Keith.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Keith Ellenbogen. I'm originally from the Boston area, and I'm currently working on a project called it's a Hollings Ocean Awareness Award to raise awareness about Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary and the wildlife and the marine wildlife specifically off the coast of New England. And over the years, I have been photographing the river herring, of which of many of the places I have traveled, Weymouth right here is one of the most spectacular that I've ever seen. And today there were thousands of these herring in each of the ladder going up. And it's really incredible to just experience what it's like to see these fish swim against what seems like the odds of this rapid flow of water, move in from one ladder to the next until they make their way upstream to reproduce. The facilities here are really amazing, and meeting Phil, and actually this is our second time together. This is must have been 3 or 5 years ago.
I think it was 2013.
2013. Well, anyway, 2013, and this is nice today, even better than it was when I was here before, and really just an amazing place, and the herring are absolutely incredible. It's a pleasure to be able to photograph them here.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. It sure is a pleasure meeting you here, and being able to assist you in what little work I did with you. We really like you being here. We hope you come back.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, I'll definitely be back.
Okay.
It's a treat. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. We're not quite finished yet. We want to know what you feel about the size of the fish here. Do you think that they're bigger than average? Do you think they're stronger than average? We want to know what it feels like to have a herring hit you in the chest.
Well, the herring looked extremely healthy to me. And when I say healthy, I didn't see any scars on them. Their color looked good. The fish were sort of very athletic, and you can see the water is flowing very fast today. And you can see that the fish have no problem going up there. They were all about, I would say, like this size, so a little over, about 10 inches kind of long. Beautiful color. They have a golden hue to them. It was incredible. I mean, they move fast. They can go, sometimes they bump into you, but more often than not, they swim around you and sense you in the water. And but I could really see the power of these fish moving against the current.
Asking about color change in fish. And yes, it seems to be true that when they come in, they're sort of grayish blue. That's a saltwater aspect of the fish. They're clean and they're bright. Once they've adapted to their freshwater environment, they seem to get a little more dingy looking, sort of silk covered.
Linda, what a treat to have Keith on the run again. He's been there for a number of years photographing the run, and it was very exciting to hear him say that the fish look really healthy, they're strong,
yes,
and that's a good sign for the populations coming up.
Exactly. It's very encouraging. The health of the fish, the population size, it's all very important, so it means that the work that is being done is really resulting in healthy fisheries. So we're super excited about having people of that caliber involved with the Weymouth Herring Run.
And just watching it and photographing it.
Yes, it's beautiful photography here.
Well, we have some interesting news, those dams.
So we're here at the SNUP Dam, which is owned by the town of Weymouth. It was created for purposes of so-called mitigation for water pollution. However, I think that it was probably done for, a mistake. I would say nowadays we should really take out dams. I think the public has really changed their mindset about dams. And this dam is blocking fish passage for river herring as well as trout and other fish species that can't get through this sluice gate, which is this small opening in the dam. And at certain flows, they can't get through here. And really, there's no current use for this dam. Phil can talk more about it, but I don't think that the benefit of what was probably intentioned to be a good thing to, improve water quality, today is not really serving that purpose.
I'd have to agree with that, Robert. It was mitigation, actually, for Libby Park. They disturbed a lot of wildlife and they cut a lot of trees here. And they thought that mitigation for it would be cleaner water for Whitman's Pond. However, it never has done that. And it has been neglected for years. It was supposed to be a certain size. The size was reduced when they found out they didn't have the land area to build it. So as soon as they reduced the size of it, they made it pretty much worthless. In times of high flow, the water goes over the dam. It doesn't go through the cleansing pools that are off to my right here. Nutrient uptake, phosphorus and nitrogen, it was supposed to reduce it in this stream. I've never seen any baseline reports on how much phosphorus and nitrogen is in the stream to begin with. I think it was just mitigation. And when they built it, I don't even think they checked the box it was fisheries, because I don't think people knew that this was spawning habitat for river herring. And what we've proven today, that is damn good spawning habitat. And if the fish could get through at higher rates of flow, say like 100 cubic feet per second, if they could get upstream, they may go several miles up the river from here. Now what we're looking at now is about 5.5 cubic feet per second. The fish can get through at that rate. However, they don't go up very much farther than the SNUP Dam itself. I don't think they feel comfortable in the waters at 5.5 cubic. If there was 100 cubic or 80, 50, even 60 cubic, these fish would go for miles up this river. And it would just expand the habitat for this fishery here. Anyhow, we'd like to see it go. Robert, any further questions?
I would say in Massachusetts, New England, and around the world, dam removal is really something that has caught wind. I think back when this dam was permitted, it really wasn't in the vernacular of the public and of people in the environmental field. And now with dam removals happening across the Commonwealth and across the country, things like removing this SNUP Dam are going to become more of a reality. There's a couple of dam removals happening in Braintree. There's other ones that have happened on the South Shore. So if there's funding to do work on this, it could become out, pretty easily. I mean, it's not that big of a structure. It's not that big of a pool that's behind it, so I don't think there wouldn't be too many sediments behind it. So I think it's just a great opportunity to restore this section of stream and really open up the fish passage and the wildlife passage here in the Old Swamp.
Hi, I'm Linda D'Angelo, president of Back River Watershed Association, and I'm down at the SNUP Dam in the Libby Park Industrial Area in Weymouth, and I'm joined by our wonderful herring warden, Philip Lofgren, who knows this area quite well and knows the history of this Old Swamp River, where the SNUP Dam has been built, and hopefully the SNUP Dam is going to be removed. So we want to just talk a little bit about the beautiful area here. It's a beautiful woodland area. You can hear birds. You can hear the water rustling through And what's incredible is that through the decades, this river has had fish showing up, trying to spawn here, but it has no access because of the obstruction of the SNUP Dam. And I know that Phil would like to talk a little bit about that. I'd like to get some questions to Phil about, why the dam was built and what we can do to support the removal. So Phil, can you answer some of those questions?
Yes, just to back up a bit, we want to say this is limited fish passage. It's not a complete blockage of fish passage. At low flows, the herring can still get beyond here, but we want to get the fish beyond here at higher flows too, because the higher the flow, the more attractant for river herring spawning. And I'd like to talk a bit about the first time I saw this place. I was sort of amazed by the beauty of it, the diversity of the woodlands, the area, full of deer, a trout stream, a cold water fishery. I like all that about this area. So I saw it for the first time. I saw the SNUP Dam. I made some evaluations on my own and marched myself up to conservation. This was 30 years ago. Bill Woodward was the conservation administrator at that time. And I said, Bill, what's the story here? This doesn't look like it's functional. And he agreed at that time that it was not a functional project. And the fact that it's never been maintained in 30 years tells me that people knew it wasn't functional because they didn't want to waste their money here. But anyhow, getting back to Bill, I said, Bill, what's going on? He said, Libby Industrial Park disturbed a lot of wildlife. We took down hundreds and hundreds of trees here. We built to the edges of vernal pools along the parkway, and we felt that it needed some mitigation. And at the time, we were looking for water quality improvements, and we put a consulting agency on this, and they came up with a SNUP Dam. Now, the first thing that happened with the SNUP Dam was that it was designed to be much bigger, to hold a lot more water, to pass a lot more water, to uptake a lot more nutrients. Well, they found out they didn't have the land to build the original design, and it was reduced in size. When that reduction in size took place, it made the SNUP Dam obsolete, and that was 30 years ago, and people knew about that. And the proof is they never maintained it. Why waste money on something that's not functional? At one time, it probably should have never been built because I don't think the box was checked off as a fishery. That was overlooked. What the intent of the overlook was, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate above that. But if it was checked off, if that box was checked off, this never would have been built. And that's about all I have to say about that. Do you have any questions?
I do. I have a question. So a little bit about the importance of cold water fisheries. What kind of fish does that support, Phil?
Oh, okay. That's an easy enough one. In this area, it's brook trout. That is the only native species. It's not a true trout, but they call it a brook trout. And it was commonplace that it was in these waters in abundance at one time. Now, this SNUP Dam sort of was an impediment to them spawning. They'd use Whitman's Pond as a summer place, and they'd use the old Swamp River spawning grounds in the fall. I have a friend, his name is Aubie Smith, if you want to check it out. Aubie's got a fine stuffed mount of a brook trout with a hook jaw and spawning colors that he caught out of the old Swamp River. And it proves to me that it could have been one, or it was at one time, a hell of a trout fishery. Now, we could probably bring that back, and the removal of this dam would surely be the step in the right direction.
Well, I think this is really exciting news. I guess it must have been just a few days ago, May 3rd, there was a historic event here at the Old Swamp River at this site. And, just to see the evidence of herring trying to come up and spawn, they can get, just so far. But this is very exciting news for the Back River Watershed Association and many other groups in this area who are really looking to increase population of all fish, and is particularly exciting for our river herring because historically, we understand that the river herring not only came into Whitman's Pond, but they came in through this area, they came in through Mill River, and they came up to Great Pond for their spawning grounds. So we want to recreate as much of that passageway for our river herring. We know how important they are to the coastal waters and to the entire food web as a forage fish. But we know that history in Weymouth that we need to preserve, and we need to be part of a bigger solution. We're an important town, we have an important fishery, and we have a responsibility to future generations of these fish runs. So I just want to say I'm proud to be here with knowledgeable people that are really enthusiastic and hard workers who create these opportunities. And we are really supporting the town on this project for this dam removal. So thank you to everybody.
We spent a lot of time up by the SNUP Dam in Weymouth. The SNUP Dam is just before the fish get between those north and southbound lanes of Route 3.
Right.
And to remove that dam would be quite a feat. Linda, what's our efforts on that?
Well, honestly, the Back River Watershed Association is delighted and really pleased at the prospect of having the SNUP Dam removed, which is located over in the Libby Industrial Parkway. And so that area is a really beautiful kind of, pristine little area, and the fish are there, and we have been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. So Back River Watershed Association has sent a letter of support to the town of Weymouth, who is applying for a special grant for this project of the SNUP Dam removal. And that would be coming through the Division of Ecological Restoration. So this is a great opportunity, and that's what we're all about, creating these opportunities and supporting one another in partnership.
It does take a lot of people to increase this awareness. The SNUP Pond and the SNUP Dam is one of those projects that at the time seemed like a good idea. But I wonder if all the people who should have been at the table were at the table to discuss the effects and the impacts.
Right. Of course, we know that this was a dam created with the construction of the Libby Industrial Parkway back in the 1980s. And the problem is that, unfortunately, there were consequences for dams with fisheries. And this is a designated fishery.
This is May 6th at the Snuff Gate here on the old Swamp River. It's just a little past noon time. What we have here is 17 cubic feet per second. Although it is not a deterrent at 17 to pass fish, it is difficult for the fish to pass at 17. This is a very narrow opening with high velocity, and the fish are spawning in this river right now downstream, and they're not trying to get through the snup. It's just the velocity is just a little too fast for them. Now, 17 cubic feet, that's like a quarter-inch of rain. It's very common here to get 50 to 100 cubic feet per second. If the SNUP Dam were to be removed, the fish could navigate this stream, even at high numbers. So, that's why we'd like this removed. We want to pass fish when fish want to pass, not when they're able to pass. Strong flows into the South Cove of Whitman's Pond attract fish to the South Cove, which in turn attract fish to the old Swamp River. The high flows are necessary, but we cannot pass fish at high flows. Please remove this dam. Thank you. So that the fish could come up here when they want to come up, not when they're able to come up. If this dam was removed, it'd be stream passage here at 100 cubic feet. They could come up anytime they wanted to. They wouldn't have to wait for the flows to come down so they could navigate this sluice gate. Okay, that's about it. I just think it should go, and I hope you feel that way too. And when I turn around and look downstream, I see fish spawning, but they're not in this pool. We had a GoPro camera in here, and there were no fish present up here. They don't like it. They don't like the stream flow up here. They don't like going through the sluice gate, but they are visible at the bridge that goes over the old Swamp River on Libby Parkway. They're spawning there right now. We have a friend, Robert Kearns, that's down there taking some film of the spawning activity, and we're going to join him shortly. That's it for now.
So it's an important opportunity now that not only the herring, but it's a cold water fishery that supports brook trout, and so those are major considerations. And so far, it looks like Weymouth may have a really good opportunity here as a priority grant from the Division of Ecological Restoration. So this is our hope, and let's see what's going to happen.
Here we are at an area of the old Swamp River below the SNUP Dam. We're here because I wanted to point out the difference between still waters and that fish fall back to and spawning waters that fish like to spawn in. These riffles right here are prime spawning habitat. They're a reason a bulldozer should have never, ever been driven down this river. Okay? This was degradation here. What we have here is we have resting areas, we have bulldozed areas. It should have never been touched, okay? Good spawning habitat here. We're not fortunate enough to have spawning at this time. The last 2 days it's been cold and rainy, and the water temperatures have chilled down, and so have the fish. They're chilling right now. But we'll be back here before the end of herring season is over, and hopefully we're going to show you some heavy-duty spawning activity right here in the old Swamp River. Thank you.
You never know. It seems like Old Swamp River is the perfect area for the herring to run through and spawn.
I know that Phil has commented about the importance of Old Swamp River as well as the Mill River, because these are now migration paths for herring and other fish to come through. And so it's an enormous opportunity here, and we're very excited.
Well, we have one more clip to show you of Phil. He's standing over by Old Well House by Libby Industrial Park. And it's kind of a sad clip we're leaving you with, but I think it's an interesting one, Linda. Yeah. What would Mary Toomey say about all that? It's very easy to get outraged now, isn't it?
Well, it is, but you know, you really have to think with vision. And that's what Mary Toomey did. And that's why she received so many awards. Even the Gulf of Maine Council Visionary Award that she received, amongst many others from EPA, Mass DEP, certainly great commendations from both Weymouth and Hingham, and many, many groups. And of course, even the Conservation Teachers Award from Boston University. So we have to think with vision, and we can't get discouraged, because we have to create the opportunity to do projects, to do restoration projects, and create open space. We have to think about the future of our environment as a healthy, beautiful place, and also for the opportunity to create more open space. I know the town of Weymouth has been working hard in that area. And so it's up to us to look for these opportunities, and this is one of them, right here.
So our last clip today might seem like it's a little down, but with Linda and the vision from Mary Toomey, we're hopeful that with education and awareness that the fisheries can get restored and we can stop them from collapsing.
We have every reason to be hopeful.
See you soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we're here at the Libby Industrial Park at a well site for the town of Weymouth, and we're looking up at an old hunting lodge here. The only thing that's left of it is the chimney on top of the hill, and on the other side of the hill there's an old well. The guy had it pretty good in here before Libby Park was built. This is what the place looked like. It had forests, it had deer populations that were very, very large. We had a lot of vernal pools here that were disrupted by the building of Libby Park. This would have been a hell of an area to buy back at one time. Now it's lost forever. it just goes to show you capital investments trump the environment every time. We've given up a lot here in the town of Weymouth. I feel like the Indian with a tear in his eye when I look at this site. That's all.